Hello, I'm Shantuan. Welcome to my channel. I make videos for people like myself who are believers and on the path, walking with God and just trying to stay motivated on in the day to day, just to stay on this path and be strong for God and for your walk. Okay, and so today I want to talk about temptation. I got a little cute story for y'all. It's kind of a confession, so this ought to be a fun video. All right. So anyway, it's New Year's Eve and I used to party, on New Year's Eve. I don't party anymore now that I am cleaning up my walk with God. I've always been a godly person. I've always believed in God. I've always prayed. I've always done good and done right by others. However, when it came down to what I wanted, I always did what I wanted to do. If I wanted to have that drink, have that man, have that smoke, whatever. That, my sins were pretty much limited to, I feel like, hurting myself. I didn't really try to hurt anybody else, not to my memory. It's just not in my character. But anyway, so I've been practicing abstinence for my walk. So it's been almost a year, a little short few months. And so with New Year's Eve being here, the temptation of, maybe having some company over, maybe going out for a little drinky drink, all of that is there. And why some people may feel like there's no harm in that, God, he knows that we're human and we're not perfect. But when your walk requires you to continue to have the pure energy so that you can stay high frequency and always serve, you have to be very protective and careful of who you let around you, so it's not just about good and bad, sin and whatever the opposite of sin is, good deeds. It's not about that. It's just about preserving yourself, okay? And so a lot of times we feel like, oh man, God, I want to do this, I want to do that, but I can't, God won't let me, he gonna punish me. No, that's not how it goes. What happens is our own actions give us the results of what we're doing. You know what I mean? Of what it is. If you're not in love and you're sleeping with somebody that don't love you, and of course it's gonna hurt. You know what I mean? So your own actions is what causes the pain sometimes. And so I guess the story I wanted to tell is, I haven't been dating this year because it helps me to stay on the path of celibacy. Okay. And so it would be very difficult for me if I was dating, and so I'm not really talking to anybody, but I will talk to somebody just for the sole purpose of dating with a purpose, just to kind of see where they're at. So anyway, I have this friend, this guy friend, and he's, I guess you could say, kind of platonic because I'm not interested in the long term. And so we've been talking, just as friends. Actually, we dated in middle school and, nothing ever happened between us, but now we're both adults and we're just friends, and so, um, he helped me out with something one day, and then he came over and we were sitting on the sofa just talking, and he's also on his walk with God as well. And so, as to my knowledge, he said he had been abstaining as well. That's what he said. I don't know, but we talk about God, and we're there for one another, and we're just friends. Okay. So one night he comes over, one afternoon, I don't know, but it eventually got dark. He comes over after work and we're just watching TV. And it's completely innocent, nothing going on. No drinking, no smoking, none of that. We were just sitting together watching TV, talking about the Lord. And then he complained about, something in his shoulder. And I was like, I don't mind, I'll rub it. And then I was like, I got a little crack in my back. Would you pop that for me? So then, he pops my back, and then next thing you know, we both giving back rubs. We taking turns. He do my back, I do his, and then we just sitting on the sofa, and we hugged, sitting. Just kind of facing each other, hugged, or because I was sitting, kind of close or whatever. It kind of turned into a little cuddle sesh, but not really. But the magnitude of the hug, like when you're trying to be a certain way and then you do the opposite, like the tension in our bodies was just so insane. You know what I mean? Like, we're not in love or anything like that, but the fact that we're both abstaining made it like, oh my goodness, just super hot. You know what I mean? And so nothing happened. He went home, and he did tell me, later in the week, like, man, I thought about that all week. And I'm going to be honest, I did too. And I was like, man, it would just be so easy just to just go there. And all week I was telling myself that I'm not going to dishonor God. I'm not going to displease God. I wasn't saying dishonor. I was saying I'm not going to displease God. All week I kept saying, nope, not going to do it, not going to do it. So I was fighting against it, but I really, really, really wanted to, And, but another aspect of it, and this is just maybe not so much the spiritual side, is I feel like his feelings for me may be a little bit stronger. And so I don't want to hurt this person. That was kind of a pattern that I had when I was living in the world, living for myself. I would sleep with people who, I felt like me better. They was chasing me or whatever. And then once it was over, they were hurt. And I wasn't hurt, because I had it in my mind, like, I'm ambitious, I'm going somewhere, I'm not stopping here, So I used to kind of date where I was and not where I was going. And so a lot of people got hurt. So that aspect of it kind of helped me to be a little bit stronger, because I have this pattern, or I guess you could say track record, of hurting people because I want to do what I want to do, and I felt like it was harmless, like they want it, I want it, but if the other person is catching feelings and you're not, then that can lead to other problems. And so I guess the point that I'm trying to make is the so-called sin that everybody's trying not to do is not just for God, it's for you, and so where I came to today was, I'm back, I hadn't seen my friend in a few days, and I feel like I got my strength back because I was like really battling with it, like, man, it's been so long, and he's a man of God and I'm a woman of God, and why can't we just be there for one another? We could if we wanted to, but I'm not stopping here. This is the decision I made for me. This is the decision. God wanted to level up my life, but it was also so that I could make better decisions going forward. If I had have gave into my lust, then yes, basically I am agreeing to stay where I have been for maybe 5 years, 5 to 10 years. And I just refuse to go back. And so the point of the video is just to say that it's not all for God. It's not for God. Yes, your obedience will further the kingdom, but it's not all for it. It's for you. And so when you decide that you're going to walk this path, it was so you could get somewhere. And so you have to look at whatever decision, whatever you consider a sin or transgression, moving backwards, you really need to look at the bigger picture as, okay, if I do this act, how does it affect me in the long, grand scheme of things? Like, how does it really help? Is it really going to push me forward? And so for a while, I told myself, like, yeah, I could do it. And that would give me the ammunition to just be more on fire for God. But then I realized, like, wait a minute, God got something for me that's exactly what I want and better. So let me just not stop here. Okay. And a lot of times we think, hey, I'm not stopping here. I'm just, stopping off. Now, if you're not strong enough to keep going, and I'm not just talking about sex, I'm talking about all the temptations, just anything that lowers your worth and your walk, and it's really about how we're feeling about ourselves. And so we have all of these things that we're doing in our lives. They're not helping us to feel better about ourselves. And so, the God in us needs to feel as high as possible. And so sometimes, most of the time, casual sex, that's a false sense of security. That's a false sense of confidence. I want Godfidence. I want Godfidence. I saw that on Instagram, and so I've been using it. Godfidence is when you are lifted up by your, how do I say this? By your integrity, basically, how you're upholding your own life. Are you living the life of the goal that you set? You know what I mean? I said I want love. If I want love, casual sex is not going to get me that. Casual sex is not going to get me that. And so I just felt like being a little bit honest, And then another thing I tell myself, Shatwan, you already been there, done that. You done had enough sex. You know what it feel like. You know what it's like. Yeah, your body got needs now, but I would prefer to delay that gratification and have the sex that I'm supposed to have when I'm supposed to have it. Because if sometimes we stop off, you think you just stopping off, but it always turned into, a little bit longer. One drink, it's going to turn into 2-3 drinks. Yeah, me and such and such had sex today, and I'm going to get back on my path. No, you won't. You're going to be like, well, God nothing happened. Nothing happened, so God didn't strike me down. So maybe we'll do it, just once a month, just to keep. No, it's going to turn into something. Spirits are real. Soul ties are real. All that stuff is real, and it could set you back. So you really have to think about what you want in the long run, and does this benefit what you want in the long run? Because yes, God's gonna forgive you. Yes, we gonna sin every day. You know what I mean? Like, but if you want to do something intentional to alter your path, you need to consider the long run. And sometimes it's not going to end the way you think it's going to end. I always use this example. I don't know, it may be kind of extreme, but when I'm talking about my daughter, she's 12. I tell her the people who use crack thought that it was a one-time thing. Okay? Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Crack is a hell of a drug. Sex is a hell of a drug. Okay? And so I hope that was clear, and I hope it wasn't all over the place. I apologize if it was, but I really just wanted to give some honesty and give some motivation. It's New Year's Eve. It's not midnight yet, and my friend did try to come over. I'm sorry if he's watching. I'm so sorry. But I did watch Barbie with my daughter. We did manis and petties, and I've just been getting on fire for God. And so I went from trying to figure out how I could get my way some kind of way, to saying, you know what, God, you just too good, too good, too good. I want to get on fire for you and stay on fire for you. Because we're not cheating God. We're cheating our own goals. We're cheating our own selves, our own motivations, because you don't know, when you step off the path, you don't know where it's going to lead you. So, and I done stepped off the path a lot. When I look back over my life and some of the things that I done got caught up in, was when I just thought, oh, I'm going to just take a little detour. I'm going to just take a little detour. I'm going to get right back. No, ended up in full-blown relationships that I had to pray and court myself out of. When I say court, I mean go to court and get them out of my life, okay? And so, thank you for watching, and Happy New Year.